What is up, everyone? Welcome back to No Cat Space. Tyler here, and goodness gracious, I I can't believe I am coming back here to record another emergency video about another Indiana Fever guard being out for the season. We're gonna get into it. Before we get into it, No Cat 15, home field collection down below. Football season's here. College season is on deck. Go check out our friends at Home Field. Right, use code No Cat 15, get 50% off that first purchase. But goodness gracious, let's pull it up. Let's talk about it. Sophie Cunningham will miss the remainder of the season, um, and they have signed Shea Petty. I'm in disbelief, frankly, at this point. I have never seen in my entire life watching basketball. I've certainly seen teams be decimated by injuries. That's happened before. But even just in that vein, like this has been so much for Indiana this season. But I have never seen a positional group just get absolutely just destroyed over the course of the season with injuries. And obviously, the WNBA season isn't like as long. It's not the 82 games of the NBA or anything. So like most of the season doesn't always mean like the worst injuries. But like there's been some bad injuries here. Like there's been like legitimate injuries with Sid and Ari, and we don't have specifics on what this injury is going to be from Sophie. And then obviously the Caitlyn stuff goes without saying, right? And just how detrimental that is to this team. I sit here and I want to provide some in-depth analysis, and I want to, I want to bring the thoughts and everything, but I sit here primarily in disbelief. It's so hard for me to even fathom one positional group on one team being destroyed in this way. And Sophie, let's pull up Sophie's stats here, because it was not the fastest start to this season by any means for Sophie, but there was an intangible aspect that she brought to this team in a similar way to what Lexi Hull brings with the defense, the energy, things of that nature. And then everything else had started to come along more and more. And you keep kind of looking at this, and I said this last time with Ari and with Sid when they went down. It's like, well, this might be the playoffs for Indiana. Like that might be it. Like, how can you, with how tight everything is, how can you continue making it? And then you see a game like that with against Connecticut where Kelsey Mitchell just pops off and to me saves the season. Obviously, that is the game where Sophie Cunningham gets hurt, only plays 10 minutes in that game. So it's not impossible. It's not impossible for Indiana to continue winning games and to make the playoffs. But goodness, when you want to talk about having the card stacked against you, oh my goodness. Let's look at the standings here. And I'm also gonna pull up Indiana's remaining schedule as well. Like when you look at the standings, right? You look at our games back right here in this column. 8th seed is here. You're 2 games in front of Seattle. 2.5 for both LA and Washington. It gets tough. I think Indiana has the toughest schedule remaining as well for the rest of this season. And when you look at these teams that you're going to have to go against, not having Sophie Cunningham for those matchups is massive. I mean, it goes without saying, it's massive to lose this much depth over the course of a season is insane. It's like this has been a season from hell for Indiana fans. Like the possibilities of what this season could have been, dating back to, if you go back to the very beginning of the season and the projections of what this team could be, it felt like you had everything you needed. You had Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston, and that's first and foremost. You retain Kelsey Mitchell, right? DeWanna Bonner and Natasha Howard come in, you fill that 4 position. You have your backup point guard in Sid Colson, and eventually that Ari McDonald gets added into that mix as well. It felt like you had done everything you needed to do, and also bringing in Sophie Cunningham, of course. It felt like you had done everything you needed to do to go and win a WNBA championship. And for so many reasons, primarily injuries, that has not happened this season. And it's gone now in a way that it's hard to digest. I mean, Indiana fans have just had it rough for basketball since the NBA Finals. Really, like it's just been well, I guess I think Caitlin injury happened first. It's been downhill. I don't mean to throw a stray in, bring the Thunder, but let's look at the schedule. Minnesota, Seattle, LA. These two games become massively important. These three games, really, these are the three teams that you are in playoff contention with right now. It's these three teams right here: Seattle, LA, Golden State, Phoenix, a contender, Chicago, Washington again, Minnesota. That is a legit tough schedule. Very, very tough schedule. And to now know that you are down yet another guard and you're going to have to go through this and try and make it and try and make the playoffs with this. It's brutal. It's brutal. And this is where, like, it's crazy to even say this at this point because you've put so much into this season. But the realism here and me and where I stand in this is that you're not making a deep playoff run. I don't think that's going to happen if you make the playoffs, right? And so part of me is like, not that I think that they're going to purposely tank or anything. Obviously, I've been very well known to call for tanks on No Cap Space. I know that. And that's not what I'm calling for here because I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that they should. I mean, you're actively in the playoffs. You still have Leah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell. Do I think that's enough to go and make a deep run? No. And to no fault of their own, right? But the idea of what happens if Indiana misses the playoffs and puts themselves in that lottery. There's a couple of players there you can see in Indiana. But that's a talk for another time. Because ultimately, what we're at right now is that the Indiana Fever season has been absolutely decimated. And I think that there is genuinely some level of discussion about refereeing, both from an Indiana Fever specific place and also from a WNBA place. I'm willing to hear those things out. But ultimately, some of this is just some of the worst luck I've seen a sports team have, especially in such a condensed time right after the NBA or WNBA trade deadline, Like, the timing of it could not have been worse. And we keep kind of getting like maybe she will, maybe she won't when it comes to Caitlin Clark coming back. If you make the playoffs, I understand wanting to have her come back. I understand the possibility, but with how the luck has been, that terrifies me. But we'll have to see. Again, I wish I had some deeper analysis, but the ultimate analysis of this is how does this keep happening? And what terrible, terrible, terrible luck for the Indiana Fever as Sophie Cunningham goes down for the rest of the season. We'll see what happens from here. Again, that schedule is brutal. And at this point, making the playoffs is an absolute accomplishment for the Indiana Fever. Again, to no fault really of their own. But we'll see. We'll see what goes down. Make sure you tapped in here for No Cap Space YouTube channel. We'll have our Ball Up Top podcast dropping tomorrow morning, where I'm sure we'll talk more about this. We'll talk about the Connecticut Sun and everything going on with their relocation and selling, because that's crazy right now. So we're going to be talking more about that. I know Andrew has thoughts on that. NoCapSpaceWB.com for all of our print and podcast content as well. And of course, our friends from Home Field. So make sure you stay tapped in across the board with No Cap Space. You can find everything down in the description below, and we'll see you next time.